Hello from the lookout. Boy, it is really still here today. You see the clouds behind me. It feels kind of like the calm before the storm. I don't know. It's just really, really still. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. I got the nicest email from a couple in southern Indiana. Thank you so much. You brightened my day. Whew, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, we are on day 164. That's it, day 164. And we're starting with Matthew chapter 7, if you will. And it's verses 7 to 8 and 12 to 14. Jesus said, "Keep on asking and you will receive what you ask for. Keep on seeking and you will find. Keep on knocking and the door will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives. Everyone who seeks finds. And to everyone who knocks, the door will be opened." 12 to 14, do to others whatever you would like them to do to you. This is the essence of all that is taught in the law and the prophets. You can enter God's kingdom only through the narrow gate. The highway to hell is broad and its gate is wide for the many who choose that way. But the gateway to life is very narrow, and the road is difficult, and only a few ever find it. Okay, I want to stop for just a second. In the front of my one-year Bible, I've got things written in the front of my one-year Bible. Look at this. You know what this is? This is when we were living in Nome, Alaska, and our puppy got a hold of my Bible. Anyway, I have this verse, Matthew 7:12. Therefore, whatever you want others to do for you, do also the same for them. This is the law and the prophets. And I read a book one time by John Maxwell, and he suggested these things that we all desire. First, I want to be valued. And so I pray that God will bring value. I want to be appreciated. So I pray that Lord will help me appreciate people. I want to be trusted. I pray that the Lord will help me to trust people. I want to be respected. So I pray that the Lord will help me to respect people. I want to be understood. So with God's help, I want to try to understand people with God's help. And finally, I do not want people to take advantage of me. And so, I don't take advantage of other people. Isn't that a great way to pray that prayer? Okay, so that we value, appreciate, trust, respect, seek to understand, and don't take advantage of others. All right. Okay, thanks John Maxwell. Cool stuff. All right, now, we are in 1 Kings 11 and 12. Chapter 11, verses 1 to 3. I don't like it. Okay, here we go. You ready? Now, King Solomon loved many foreign women. Besides Pharaoh's daughter, he married women from Moab, Ammon, Edom, Sidon, and from among the Hittites. The Lord had clearly instructed the people of Israel, you must not marry them because they will turn your hearts to their gods. Yet Solomon insisted on loving them anyway. He had 700 wives of royal birth and 300 concubines. And in fact, they did turn his heart away from the Lord. You know, when David was king, there was a prophet, the prophet Nathan, came and challenged him on behalf of the Lord after he had committed sin with Bathsheba and had Uriah killed. Remember that? And he confronted David directly about that sin, and David received his correction. And I wrote in my Bible, was there no prophet with the courage to challenge Solomon? Where was that person? Or had Solomon already hardened his heart to God? Listen, the 11 chapter 6 verse B, the second half of it says, he refused to follow the Lord completely as his father David had done. And then 11, 9, and 10, the Lord was very angry with Solomon, for his heart had turned away from the Lord, the God of Israel, who had appeared to him twice. He had warned Solomon specifically about worshiping other gods, but Solomon did not listen to the Lord's command. Solomon, the richest, wisest man ever, walked away from God. Walked away from God. This makes me shudder. A man with everything, all given by God, walks away. Perhaps. I try to, you try to wrap your mind around it, okay? Perhaps. Perhaps Solomon believed that somehow he had generated everything and not God. Maybe he had just been so filled with pride that he decided that really he was the source of his wisdom and his wealth, not God. Or this was a man, if ever there was a man, this was a man who refused to say no to himself. He would have all the women his heart desired, and no one, not even God himself, would stop him. And so the dynasty of David over all Israel was lost in the first generation to follow him. And Solomon was so wise and so wealthy, and he was kind of like a little toddler. No, I'll have my way. And he had it and lost it. What does this say to us today? Well, Jesus' words are true. We enter God's kingdom through the narrow gate and the difficult path. Our lives are built one step at a time on God's path. Don't get stuck and start bringing up eternal security. Please don't do that. I have been married to my wonderful, amazing, incredible wife for 44 years. And you know how we've made it this long? You want to know the secret? We have loved each other one day at a time. One day at a time. The good times, the bad times, the hard times, the boring times. The times when life was amazing and the times when life wasn't so amazing. One day at a time, we've built our marriage. And we don't worry about it. Neither of us do. We don't worry about it. We don't worry about the future. I don't worry about my future with God. I build my relationship with God in the same kind of a manner that I've built my relationship with Teresa. One day, one step at a time. Does that make sense? So we must invest in the next generation and teach them to walk with and to depend on the Lord. They've got to see us following Jesus one day at a time. And then we take them, and even as with our adult children, we still live out our faith in front of them. Please, I beg you, please live out your faith in front of your children. You don't have children? There are people who watch your life who need to see you follow Jesus one day at a time. Okay? Fair enough? This is so important. It boggles the mind that of all people, Solomon could walk away. The one who God gave everything to. Let's follow Jesus. Okay. Acts chapter 9. Saul, the man who had been attacking the followers of Jesus, is on his way to another town, Damascus, to continue his attempt to destroy the church. And on the way, something happens. Okay? Chapter 9, verses 3 to 6. As he was approaching Damascus on his mission to root out those believers, A light from heaven suddenly shone around him. He fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to him, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? Who are you, Lord? Saul asked. And the voice replied, I am Jesus, the one you are persecuting. Now get up and go into the city, and you will be told what you must do. Whoa, that had to be an eye-opening experience, didn't it? So, in our Old Testament reading, Solomon made decisions that had negative consequences throughout the kingdom, right? And this event in Saul's life will change everything for him and will give a lasting legacy in the kingdom of God. So great. We've gone from the pit to the mountain. Okay, Saul is blinded by his encounter with God. And now listen, as God speaks to Ananias about Saul. Ananias is a believer in Jesus. And he speaks to Ananias in verses 10 to 16. Now, there was a believer in Damascus named Ananias. The Lord spoke to him in a vision, calling, Ananias! Yes, Lord, he replied. The Lord said, Go over to Straight Street to the house of Judas. When you get there, ask for a man from Tarsus named Saul. He is praying to me right now. Isn't that amazing? He's praying to me right now. God is speaking to me. I never figured that out. How does God do that? Okay, anyway. I have shown him a vision of a man named Ananias coming in and laying hands on him so he can see again. Okay. but Lord, but Lord, exclaimed Ananias, I've heard many people talk about the terrible things this man has done to the believers in Jerusalem, and he is authorized by the leading priests to arrest everyone who calls upon your name. Ananias is like, Lord, you're confused, your wires are crossed, what are you thinking? But the Lord said, Go, for Saul is my chosen instrument to take my message to the Gentiles and to kings, as well as to the people of Israel, and I will show him how much he must suffer for my name's sake. Ooh, okay. And so Ananias obeys, and he goes to Saul, and he prays, and Saul receives his sight. Now listen to 19 to 23. Okay, this is just such an amazing story, isn't it? Saul stayed with the believers in Damascus for a few days, and immediately he began preaching about Jesus in the synagogue, saying, He is indeed the Son of God. All who heard him were amazed. Isn't this the same man who caused such devastation among Jesus' followers in Jerusalem? They ask, and didn't he come here to arrest them and take them in chains to the leading priests? Saul's preaching became more and more powerful, and the Jews in Damascus couldn't refute his proofs that Jesus was indeed the Messiah. After a while, some of the Jews plotted together to kill him. It's completely been reversed, hasn't it? Saul, the one who was killing believers, has been the one targeted. This was a case where God brought about a change in Saul that became immediately evident. It's like God simply removed the things that were blinding him to the truth of the Messiah, Jesus. What about us? Are there some things that God would like to remove from us so we can see clearly? How about our expectations? The people of Jesus' day had an expectation about how the Messiah would come, right? And they held so tightly to what they thought that they were blind to the Messiah, Jesus, when he came. They had it figured out. How often do we hear teachers today? I've got it figured out. I know when God is coming. I know when Jesus is coming. I know what it's going to look like. I know when. I know where. And I always think when I read those, go, well, if you thought you had it figured out, sorry, God's not going to follow your plan. Now, or are we blinded by, okay, there's this big word. I tried to figure out another way to say it, but okay. Are we blinded by aspirational faith? what in the world is aspirational faith? That's where I see somebody's life and I go, wow, I'd like to be them. Or, or how about this? It's like the person who says, I'd give my right arm to be able to play piano like that. No, you wouldn't. You couldn't play piano like that without your right arm, duh. But the reality is, no, the only way that person plays piano like that is because they practice and they work. So they aspire to play the piano like so-and-so, or play the guitar like so-and-so, or do artwork like so-and-so. But do they put in the time and the effort that is required to do it? We aspire to great faith. Great faith. I want to have great faith. And God says, awesome, take this step. Oh, no, Lord, that's too risky. I couldn't do that. Ooh, that didn't make it. Ooh, and that would be aspirational faith, okay? I aspire to something, but I'm not really doing it. Okay, so are we blinded by aspirational faith? We know what God wants of us and even aspire to obey God, but do not carry through or don't believe that it is true in my case. Now, here it is. I got to hurry up because I'm out of time. In my case, is the Bible true in my case? Is Jesus real in my case? When Jesus says, keep seeking, keep asking, keep knocking, is it true in my case? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, what will it look like? I don't know. Is it true in my case? Yes. So let's live out our faith and believe God for the results. Is that okay? Okay. What a day. All right, here we go. We're going to look at Psalm 131 real quick. Psalm 131. Lord, my heart is not proud, my eyes are not haughty, I don't concern myself with matters too great or too awesome for me to grasp. Instead, I have calmed and quieted myself. Like a weaned child who no longer cries for its mother's milk, yes, like a weaned child is my soul within me. O Israel, put your hope in the Lord now and always. And then Proverbs 17, 4 and 5. Wrongdoers eagerly listen to gossip. Liars pay close attention to slander. Those who mock the poor insult their Maker. Those who rejoice at the misfortune of others will be punished. We've talked about a lot today. May God bless you as you live out your faith one day, one step, one brick at a time. And God helps you every step of the way. God bless you.